We talk about the erosion for Biden, and now you start to see it. Look at these numbers. Trump advantages on all of these traits.
And I stop here because competent and effective, that was President Biden's, the crux of his campaign pitch back in 2020.
And we actually polled this question in 2020, and it was basically the exact opposite. It was Biden with about a 10-point advantage over Trump. And again, same with handling a crisis. Biden had the edge over Trump. And how about this? It's the former president, the current president. We don't really see matchups like this. Well, now we can measure it. Who has the strong record as president? And again, Trump outpacing Biden on that front. And again, you got to mention this one, too. Necessary mental and physical health. We asked this 4 years ago. It was a wash. It's now a clear liability for Joe Biden. So these are all troubling numbers for Biden.
They are beside themselves, gang. They cannot believe that Trump is crushing Biden. And it's not just NBC. News outlets across the board are openly panicking over the latest polling numbers. You're going to absolutely love this. And then,
all those of you with gowns and caps, we're going to go straight to that gate and we're going to deposit these because they are nothing to us.
the Democrats' civil war is heating up as police have started to crack down on pro-Palestinian demonstrations on college campuses. We got the latest. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot professor, here to help you stay sane in these insane times. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button, and let's dive right in. Over the weekend, the anchors on Meet the Depressed, as the immortal Rush Limbaugh used to call it, were in a stupor. They were utterly traumatized, having to analyze one of their own polls that showed, in their words, a total erosion in support for Biden. And that was especially the case in terms of who best do you trust to handle inflation and the economy. 52% of respondents are going with Trump, just 40% with Biden. That represents a 22-point swing to Trump since 2020. And when asked who they thought had the necessary mental and physical health to be president, well, as you guessed, just 20% went with Biden, more than double that. 45%, of course, chose Trump. But NBC was not the only network aghast at comparable numbers over the weekend. Here is CNN.
This is viewed favorably across Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. In the 2020 exit polls, what do we see? 50% of voters view Joe Biden on average favorably in those states, compared to just 45% for Donald Trump. Look at the Joe Biden trend line where he is now. Joe Biden is far less liked than he was 4 years ago. Just 43% of voters now view Joe Biden favorably in these states. And Donald Trump, despite everything that has happened, is actually slightly more liked. 47% favorable rating. So this isn't just the lesser of two evils that's going on. The fact is that Donald Trump is, in fact, better liked than he was 4 years ago and is better liked than Joe Biden is right now in these battleground states. It's pretty gosh darn clear.
Now, the key to those numbers, as Red Eagle Politics analyzes, Biden's high favorables that he was getting in 2020 were way too high to sustain. That's all gone. And he's now losing on every single issue across the board. Meanwhile, Trump has not lost any of his support. Trump's support remains rock solid, whereas Biden's support has plummeted. So you're seeing NBC freaking out over this. You're seeing CNN freaking out. Here's the same freak out over at ABC.
In 2016, it was 24/7, lousy press, good press, everything in between Donald Trump. If you look at the press, 90% of it's about Trump. And he went through the last 3 weeks with 5 rallies a day and turned out one of the biggest upsets in modern history. When it's all about Trump, he's winning.
No, I actually disagree with that.
538 average has shown a bit of a.
I think the opposite's true. I think if the election's about Biden, I think if the election's about Biden, Trump's going to win. I think if the election's about Trump, Biden's got a lot better chance. And right now, Biden's problem is this election's about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the challenge, right?
Those are the kind of numbers that make a Biden very nervous. So
and Michigan,
how does the White House
Michigan's the most ominous number there.
That was Politico's senior political columnist Jonathan Martin lamenting that the current trajectory of the election is a referendum on bumbling Biden. And as far as he's concerned, if it remains a referendum on Biden, his goose is cooked. Those numbers, those swing state numbers in particular, ain't lying. And they're utterly devastating for Biden and the Democrats. Devastating. Again, things are so bad right now that Trump is only down 10 in New York, in a state that Biden won by double that in 2020. He won New York by over 20 points. That lead has now been cut in half. We're seeing it as well in the overall polling average in the RCP aggregate, the Real Clear Politics polling average that averages out all the polls. But they're showing that among the last 8 polls that have been taken since the first week in April, Trump has led or is tied in 7 of them. Of the last 8 polls, Trump leads or is tied in 7 of the 8. So whatever surge we were supposed to be seeing from Biden is officially dead. I know the legacy media, they're desperately trying to pull Biden back to life. There are a couple of favorable polls out there, overly favorable, so they're clear outliers. That's why I don't think RCP has included them in their average. And it gets worse, gang. Biden's average approval rating, when you aggregate all the polls, is now in the 30s. His approval rating is now lower than Jimmy Carter's and George H.W. Bush's approval ratings that foreshadowed their mutual re-election losses, landslide losses. So Biden is in a heap of trouble, and you can see it on the faces of those legacy media pundits. So what do you think about it? Let us know in the comment section below. Hey gang, if you always wanted to explore historical cities with a group of courageous patriots, well, now is your chance to embark on an exclusive adventure with me, Dr. Steve, and other patriots like you as we set sail on the Mediterranean. You're invited to join us this August on Royal Caribbean's luxury liner, the Voyager of the Seas. You'll get to spend time with me and other like-minded patriots during live onboard classes as we dive into topics like the rising parallel economy, the culture wars, and how you can share my optimism for a conservative renewal. We'll discover enchanting architecture, timeless artistry, and breathtaking experiences as we adventure through Spain, France, and Italy. Enjoy incredible dining experiences, enriching education, and once-in-a-lifetime attractions each day of our journey. It'll be a summer that you'll simply never, ever forget. Join me and your fellow patriots this August 5th to 12th for this unparalleled adventure. If you want more information and you want to take part in our last-minute pricing sale, my team is waiting to talk to you right now. There are only a handful of cabins left, so don't wait. Click on that link below or go to cruiseinfo.turleytalks.com to learn more. This is going to be an unforgettable trip, and I cannot wait to spend it with you. Click on that link below right now.
You can see that students do not plan to leave this area unless they are forced to do so. So this is very developing and ongoing. We are going to be continuing to monitor and watch what happens here. We got out here about 4 o'clock this morning. Everything was very quiet. There were just a few tents. Throughout the morning, we would hear some prayers going on from these students. And then around 6 o'clock, police started to make their way into this area, putting up the caution tape. And it was really just about 45 minutes ago that police officers started to make their way into the protest area. And we did watch them detain about 1 to 2 students. Now,
we're starting to see a very real crackdown on protesting students on college campuses. That was a scene from my old stomping grounds. That was coming out of Yale University. I grew up just 20 minutes away from there. That was outside of Woolsey Hall and Beinecke Library, the little courtyard out there. We're starting to see police arrest these protesters who are actively disrupting campus life. Columbia University has actually had to cancel classes because of the protests. This also after the university's campus rabbi issued a warning to Jewish students not to return to campus amid what he saw as a huge spike in extreme anti-Semitism at Columbia University. And at that university alone, there have been over 100 arrests in their latest crackdown. And it really signals an escalation in the ongoing civil war inside the Democratic Party. We've been talking a lot about this of late, but this really is turning out to be a huge impediment for Biden's re-election prospects. Again, we saw in the recent Michigan primaries where Biden lost one of the most Democrat districts in the whole of Michigan. He lost it. Dearborn, it's the single most densely populated Muslim town in the nation. Biden won it by 70% of the vote in 2020. Gang, in the primaries just a couple of months back, Biden lost Dearborn to the generic uncommitted vote, and he lost it by a 3-to-1 vote. It was a protest vote against Biden's policies in the Middle East. And then it happened again in the Kansas primary a couple of weeks later. 10% of Democrat voters voted none of the above. 15% voted for either none of the above or for someone else in protest against Biden's policies in the Middle East. This protest, the civil war inside the Democrat Party, is getting so serious that Democrat strategist James Carville has come out and said that if Biden loses in November, you can blame it all on Israel. So obviously we'll keep an eye on how things develop here, but it does appear that a combination of bad polling, low approval ratings, and an escalating civil war inside the Democrat Party is spelling disaster for Biden in November.